Hello again, everybody. This is Chris Ostrowski with About, and today we're going to walk through the installation of OpsCenter12c. First thing you want to do is acquire the software from Oracle. You can go to the Oracle Technology Network, and under Downloads, you'll see that there is a section for Enterprise Management. If you select See All under Enterprise Manager, you'll see the Enterprise Manager OpsCenter link right there. You can grab that piece of information, accept your license, and you can download Oracle Enterprise Manager OpsCenter12c for either Oracle Solaris or for Linux. I'm going to run this on an Oracle Solaris virtual machine just to show you what it's like. The process for running it on Linux is almost identical, so if you're doing this on Linux, this video should be useful for you also. So if you select the Enterprise Controller Update 2, or the latest and greatest version of OpsCenter12c here on this page, you can go ahead and download the software to your local system. One of the things that you're going to have in place during the installation are the files for an Oracle database. You have to get a very specific version of the Oracle database for this to work. And you also have to copy the files into a very specific directory. So either on your Solaris box or your Linux box, you want to have a directory called var temp downloads, and these are the files that you want to get. You want to search for this patch on Oracle support, and you want to grab the first two zip files that go along with this particular patch. It's a version of the database. This version is 11.2.0.4.0. Different versions of the OpsCenter will probably use different versions of the database, so if you're not using this exact version of the OpsCenter that is selected in this video, make sure that you read through the release notes and the README and the installation guide to make sure that you're grabbing the exact version of the database that you need in order for this to work. So I have downloaded all of this information. You can see I've grabbed the Solaris 86-64 version because I have a 64-bit virtual machine that I'm running here. So you want to grab the first two files that are associated with this. You can see it says 1 of 6, 2 of 6. You don't need all 6 files. You just need the first two files, zip files, in this particular directory, var temp downloads, and make sure you don't unzip them. As part of the installation process, we'll actually go through and unzip these files and create a database for you automatically. It'll do all the magic behind the scenes. But you just have to make sure that both of these files are in this particular directory so that when you run the installation program for OpsCenter, it can find both of these files and do what it needs to do. So I've downloaded the Enterprise Controller. That's the main part of Oracle OpsCenter. And I'm going to kick off the installation program that goes along with it now and walk you through all the pieces. So let me minimize this so it's a little easier to see. And as you can see, I've downloaded this file called Enterprise Controller Solaris i386.12.2.tar.zip. I unzipped the file, and that left me with a tar file, and then I used the tar command to extract all the information from there, and it created this directory for me called xvmoc_full_bundle. One of the things that's really important to remember is that all of the software has to be installed as the root user on whatever server you're going to run this on. So I'm logged in as the root user right now, and that's what I have to run this as. So I'm going to cd into my directory here, and you can see that there's an install program, so I'm going to run that. So it's asking me if I want to input any information for support. I'm just going to hit return there because I don't want any information. Do I want to remain uninformed of security issues? Yes. Obviously you want to put that necessary information in if you want to get information from Oracle on security updates. So now Oracle is going to keep refreshing this page. You can see it's got 21 steps that it needs to go through. and as long as everything is set up properly and the files are in the correct places, my file permissions are okay, my kernel parameters are set properly, and you can go and see all of these different pieces of information in the install guide. Oracle will go through and keep refreshing this page as it goes through each one of the steps of the installation. Okay, I've sped up the video here so you didn't have to sit through all of the different steps that OpsCenter goes through during the install. But as you can see, it's completed all 21 steps, and it looks like everything completed successfully. So we can do a couple of checks right off the bat to make sure that things are working the way we expect them to. Even though it says please point your browser to, and it gives this HTTP link here, it's not going to work the way it's written as part of the documentation, unfortunately. But first, let's make a quick check to make sure that everything is up and running. We can do a quick check to see if our database is up and running. And you can see we have this new database created called OCDB, OpsCenter database, and it's up and running. The way the database and the listener are configured, they will start up both automatically if the system is rebooted for any reason, so you don't have to worry about that. So since it looks like the database and the listener are running okay, let's take a look and run a quick executable to see if the enterprise controller is running okay. If we go into the OpsCenter12c.bin directory, there's an executable here called ECADM, which stands for Enterprise Controller Administration. So if we run ECADM and we ask for the status, it comes back that it's running online. Now we can go through and check to see if everything else is running by going into a browser. And in our browser, we want to go to our local server that we just installed the enterprise controller on. It's going to look at a very unusual port by default, and we can see if we can get to the login page by doing that. So you can see that there's HTTPS. Whoops, didn't mean to do that exactly. So you can see that we can go to HTTPS, the name of our server, which in this case my virtual machine that's running Solaris 11 here is called OpsCenter12c. It uses an unusual port, 9443, and we want to get to the main page, which is EMOC. So if everything is working properly, because OpsCenter by default is installed with a non-standard SSL key, Firefox comes back and says, I realize this isn't a real secure key here. Do you want to actually do this? You only have to do this one time. You say, I understand the risks. You add this exception for this particular page, and if everything is working properly, you should be taken to the login page for OpsCenter. The username by default is going to be taken from the operating system. So we install this as root, and it's going to be my same password that I use at the operating system level to log on. And if everything was set up properly, we should see the main page for the Enterprise Manager OpsCenter12c. The first time I log into OpsCenter, I'm presented with this wizard on how to set up the enterprise controller. OpsCenter12c uses three main components. The enterprise controller is the repository where everything is stored about all of the different systems inside your organization. There's another component called a proxy controller. A proxy controller is used to scale out all of the work that the enterprise controller has to do. In a simplest setup, a proxy controller runs on the enterprise controller. Usually you only set this up for testing purposes. In a production environment, you're going to want to spread a whole bunch of different proxy controllers amongst different servers. The proxy controller actually performs the work and reports the information from the various jobs that it performs on the other servers back to the enterprise controller. On each one of the servers that you want to gather information about, there's another piece of software called the agent control. The agent controller communicates directly with the proxy controllers. So here we're going to walk through a wizard that allows us to set up what our enterprise controller looks like. You can see that I can change the name if I want to, and I can change the administrative user if I want to. In this particular example, I don't want to change any of that information, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Remember what we said about proxy controllers. They're the ones that are actually going to do the work. So in this initial setup, I'm going to have a co-located proxy, meaning I'm going to have a proxy controller running on the same server as the enterprise controller. In a production environment, you would never want to do this. This doesn't make any sense. The whole point of a proxy is to distribute the work amongst different servers so that the enterprise controller isn't overloaded. Under normal circumstances, you'd probably have a couple of proxy controllers out there that all communicate back to the enterprise controller. Because this is a real simple example and a test, I'm going to set up a co-located proxy for now. As you can see, we are successful creating our proxy controller, and we can continue on in the wizard. If you run OpsCenter in connected mode, you can automatically download all of the latest and greatest components for Oracle Linux and various Oracle Solaris components. Why is this important? Well, when it comes time to actually patch your systems, Oracle can look at a local repository and determine all of the necessary patches that have to go onto your systems. In this particular example, I'm not going to set up OpsCenter in connected mode, only because I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time downloading all of the necessary patch information. So I'm going to select disconnected mode. On this page of the wizard, you specify where you'd like to keep all of the software libraries on your system. You can change these directories if you'd like. You can also specify software bundles that can be used to update Oracle Linux or Oracle Solaris servers. In this particular example, I don't have any additional bundles, so I'm just going to click Next. Now that the libraries are configured, I can continue on. If I need to set up any DHCP, I can do that with this page here. Since this is a simple example, I don't need to set up any DHCP, so I'm just going to click Next. If everything looks okay, I have my summary page, and when I click Finish, I'm taken back to the main page of the Enterprise Manager. If I look under Servers, you can see by default I have the one server inside of my repository that's actually running OpsCenter12c. In the next couple of videos, we'll take a look at what it takes to add new assets and how to manipulate those assets inside of OpsCenter12c.